Button has been pressed. Oh, this is awful.
There you go.
That's not getting used, he says, as if he knows that deep down inside he's not going to cut this.
Well, welcome back anyway.
Yeah, you tell them.
Yeah, well...
I'm sorry, who died and made you host again?
What?
Who died and made you host again?
Well,
Did
I
I
was
die?
just taking opportunity.
Taking the reins.
Taking the reins, taking some initiative.
Crashing this flying Pegasus monster into the side of a cliff.
I don't know if I've got a treat for you today or not. Find that out yourself, can't you? I guess. What have you been doing recently?
Don't give me that. That's not how this works.
Sure it is.
We agreed to a schedule.
Yeah, that was on the first.
And you ruined it. That's not first.
What was first then?
First is movie news for comic books.
Oh, right then. I don't remember that.
Despite the fact that I told you before we started. Sure, you don't remember that.
Did you say that? Okay.
I did say that. What are we talking about?
I don't know. Oh, if you want to talk about, like, new stuff. Ooh.
You mean the fact that neither of us have seen any of the latest
Exactly.
movies?
I mean, movie news is not really anything to talk about. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't seen Captain America.
Well, I don't think anyone's seen that, mostly because it's not out yet.
Isn't it? Oh, okay. I haven't seen X-Men. Is that out?
Yep.
Yeah, that's out. I haven't seen it. Because I am poor and I have no money.
Here we go. He's going to do one of his long-winded rants again.
I'm not. That's all I'm saying. Have you seen it?
No. As I said, neither of us have seen any of the latest movie.
No.
There's movie news. Oh wait, no, that's not movie news because that wasn't actually news.
Anything about it? Even my friend, I think some of my friends might have been able to see it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything on my social medias. I'm sure it'll be fine. I heard the actor for Thanos has been revealed in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, it's still a rumor at this point, if you ask me.
Are you sure?
I know a lot of comments being made about the site that released it has not been very reliable in the past.
Okay. Do you know who it was rumored to be then?
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Don't know how you say his name.
It's not the chin we asked for, but
I know he's got a pretty tweaked chin.
Yeah. It's not quite Ron Perlman level chin, but it'll do. Ron
Perlman can't be in another movie with a comic book character. No. He's already Hellboy. He can't be Thanos too. That's like casting Chris Evans as the Human Torch and then making him Captain America.
I know, right? Yeah.
That would never happen.
So,
or how about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and then becoming Green Lantern later? Nah, it never happens.
We haven't really got any up-to-date movie news. If you wanna,
well, I do.
Okay then. As a tiny bit before you say your piece, I will say, for some reason, I don't know why I've come across them or / forgotten them, but Marvel, or like not Marvel, but you know the most recent sort of push towards comic book movies and whatever with Iron Man and all that. How did that started off with like X-Men, the early ones, and then the Hulk stemmed out of that, and they went on to do big franchise with them anyway. There are plenty of movies in the 20th century that did the same. There was a Fantastic Four movie, there was a Captain America movie, there was a plethora of other movies that covered some of these...
Hey, a plethora of other... I mean, come on, give me a better
yeah. There was, there were quite a few. And you really... I think some people would be surprised how many were actually covered, but have either been forgotten or fans decided to shunt them. And they were actually... Some of them weren't too bad. So, look them up. Look up, like, 20th century superhero films. Because they happened. People don't want to believe they happened, but they happened before all this big
Superman
budget
4 happened.
CGI, whatever majiggy is. So yeah, what have you got to say about new stuff?
Well, how about Edgar Wright steps down from Ant-Man, quits the project,
Yeah, I heard
despite
about
being
that.
director. That sounds not
Which
good.
is pretty much like, well, that's Ant-Man gone for another 10 years.
Well, they're probably still going to make the movie.
I guess so.
They had the cast ready and everything, so you'd think. But
I'm hoping now they'll actually change it so that Hank Pym's not a decrepit old man.
no, that's probably still going to stay.
There we go.
Sorry.
Who cares about continuity, am I right?
Who cares about... They could do what they like because it's their own original continuity.
Yep.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is not 616, so it's fine. They can do whatever they like. They can make Nick Fury be Samuel L. Jackson. That's fine, all good.
David Hasselhoff is still best. Just saying. That's another thing. If you didn't know David Hasselhoff was Nick Fury, check it out. It's an alright movie. Just putting it out there.
I'm sure the director of that movie, be he alive or dead, is very grateful for your shout-out.
I'm sure he is.
Be it a man or a woman or another. He's very proud of you. So, Ant-Man in dire straits. Whoa.
Let's hope. Yeah, I hope it does something. Does happen with it. Was it who was that man in it? Were they putting I can never remember his name.
You mean actor or character?
Character.
Scott Lang.
Scott Lang, is it? Yeah.
Some people think that he's the superior Ant-Man.
I quite liked him as a character. I think Hank Pym has a lot more backstory to him, and a lot more history. But I like Scott Lang because he had quite a good run up until he died, of course. Up until that Avengers disassembled. They really pumped quite a lot of character development to him, and he had a really good storyline with Jack of Hearts as well. And it was really nice. And then, of course, Scarlet Witch happened, and he exploded.
Yeah.
He got blown up.
I like him, except he's back now, but...
Yeah.
That's beside the point.
Anyway.
I've no idea where Hank Pym is.
So no.
I remember Wolverine stabbed him in Age of Ultron, and that was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Let's never speak of Age of Ultron again. Terrible event. Terrible. That'll be the one thing I'm glad that when the movie comes out, it'll have nothing to do with the comic book that it's named after. Because nothing...
Which one was Age of Ultron recent?
Yeah, that was last year, I believe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't remember it. I don't want to know it.
Guess what? If you're going to name something Age of Ultron, have it be about Ultron more than just have him appear in about the first 3 issues and then he's never heard from again, and it's pretty much a time-travelling story. Terrible.
Does that cover our Marvel movies at least?
How much oh right, there's a name. There is a name to the Batman Superman film. It's Batman v Superman, or perhaps it's Superman v Batman. I forget the order. Dawn of Justice, which basically means that it's probably going to be a prequel Justice League setup movie.
Yeah, I have completely lost touch with any DC movies at all. Hopefully they'll get themselves together and actually make something good.
You saw Man of Steel with me in the cinema. I mean,
that was all right.
You gave it a 7.5, I believe, on your amazing scale.
But I mean, like, and you just in terms of history, I hope they pull something together that's better than stuff that's come before. But they like somebody keeps, I think you and many other people online have said, they do animated movies quite well when they want to.
Unless it's Son of Batman, in fact, we're not even going to go down that rabbit hole again because I'm done ranting about Son of Batman. It's a terrible movie.
Superhero movies. I don't really know anything about upcoming anime movies or whatever. I haven't paid so much. The only really studio that produces movies I watch is Ghibli, and I haven't watched one of their movies recent movies in quite a while because I always wait. I always end up waiting too long, and they come and go in the UK. Because I happened to watch Arrietty when that came out in London. That was quite good. And it was a really good movie, but the theatre was okay. But apart from that, they don't screen unless it's like one of their bigger ones that people are more excited about. They don't screen very often. I know it's screened in a lot of places. We had to go to like a specific cinema. I think it was the Odeon in London. It was really small. It's nice. But, yeah. No idea about anime movies.
Neither do I.
That's what the internet's for.
Really
this is more like current news anyway. Yeah. Moving on. Is that all we have to do for current news?
Well, movie news, yeah, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah. Movie. Yeah. Whatever.
We would have had a lot more to talk about if any of us had seen any of the latest comic book movies, but we haven't yet.
Jordan is your one-stop shop for current comic book arcs and other stuff.
Apparently I am the only one.
So, yeah, tell us about what you've been reading.
Tell us about what now?
Tell us about what you've been reading / what you're looking forward to.
Forever Evil's finished.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe it? I said it would be finished by the time that the next one comes round, next podcast, and I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I refused to have done this podcast any time before that storyline was resolved, because I refused to mention it without talking about its finale again, and thus here we are. Final issue came out 21st of May. I read it, I enjoyed it, despite the arduous 2-month plus wait between 6 and 7. It was meant to come out in March, for crying out loud, and it came out at the end of May. That's terrible, DC.
That is the worst.
As I've said last time, there were tie-in issues and stuff, or aftermath issues coming out before the last issue came out, so... And they were making a big deal about whether Dick Grayson had died or not at the end of the 6th issue, but then in the solicitations that came out, they revealed that he's already going to get his own solo series coming out anyway, where he becomes, because during Forever Evil, because his identity got revealed to the public, he can no longer be Nightwing. He's basically becoming a special agent now. And the comic book storyline is going to be called Grayson, so we knew he was going to survive because it was spoiled by the fact that...
Yeah.
So yeah, they couldn't keep that under wraps. Also, Lex Luthor becoming a part of the Justice League was also spoiled before the finale kicked in, so yeah.
How's old Baldy doing these days?
This was his show. Forever Evil was pretty much how can we make people fall in love with Lex Luthor.
Uh-huh.
He was the star. Front and centre.
Well,
so
I wish him all the best. He's certainly powerful in Injustice in his mech suit, that's for sure.
Just bring back Injustice Lex for new whatever crossover crisis is coming next. So the big takeaway points from the end of Forever Evil, of course, is Lex Luthor is now a hero, as is his partners less so. His partners, the people he worked with, sort of got their crimes pardoned.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a great scene where he's telling them all, and Black Adam and Sinestro just go flying off laughing because they don't really care that their criminal record has been cleaned. They're beyond handcuffs and prison cells. I mean, they're too advanced.
No being led away by the Thanos police.
The New York boys coming to take you away, Black Adam.
Boys in blue can't be stopped.
You do not have to say anything, especially the word Shazam, but anything you do say may hurt your appearance.
May kill us.
Yeah. Do not quote the Sinestro Corps oath, please. This is a court proceeding.
Swearing like an oath, he just starts reciting. Oh.
And I guess Captain Cold is also going to be joining the Justice League. He was sort of Luthor's wingman of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Nightwing survives because at the end of he was strapped to a bomb that would blow up in a couple of moments, pretty much, if his heart didn't stop. And so Lex Luthor, it seemed to have like strangled him, and Batman went crazy and started beating down Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And then Bizarro got him off him, because obviously Bizarro is Lex's creation and is very loyal to him. And eventually reveals that he just gave Nightwing a sort of temporary cyanide pill.
Okay.
to stop his heart, and
yes.
then he gives him an injection to bring him back to life.
Yeah.
So that Lex Luthor, hero man, the hero we deserve and the one we need, apparently.
Mm.
And Bizarro also bites the dust, sadly, in a very touching scene.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Cold's all like, what are you upset for? Lex, he was just a monster. And Lex turns around to him and he's like, but he was my monster.
Oh.
So Lex is legit shook that his pet monster creation got a little scratch and died. And then I guess I haven't talked about it yet, but the evil / good, I don't really know what it is. I guess it's good Lex Luthor somewhat, but it's Shazam spelt backwards, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'm just going to call him Shazam spelt backwards man from
I'm
here
not
on
really
out.
sure how to pronounce that. I don't have a notepad up. Shazam.
Have a crack at it.
Hold on. So that's Mazahs. Mazaz?
Mazaz.
Yes, let's just call him Mazaz.
Mazaz or Alex Luthor. Either way. So his whole deal is he steals other people's powers by killing them.
Mm.
So he apparently back on Earth 3 had killed their Billy Batson and stole his power. And then he also kills Johnny Quick, who is the evil Flash equivalent, and gets his power. And the crime syndicate is freaking out at this point. Like Ultraman's like, why did you set him free? Oh god, everything's going bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a fight, and pretty much Alex Luthor is just owning everyone and can't be stopped. Until Lex realizes that he has the same voice as him, because he's his alternate counterpart, so he says the word Mazaz and turns him back to his mortal form, and then kills him whilst he's in his mortal form.
There you go.
So Lex cheats the system and kills his alternate counterpart. And he kills Atomica, which was the evil Atom version, by stepping on her while she's small and squishing her under his boot. So she gets hers. Deathstorm, I believe, also dies. That's evil Firestorm, by the way. He also dead.
Does Black Adam ever redeem himself from his horrible beatdown?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's like Sinestro does something. Well, Lex Luthor says, I need you to shout the word Shazam to try and stop Alex Luthor. And he's like, is that even possible with his jaw broken? And then Sinestro's like, if I can realign his jaw for a brief moment with my sort of, what they called constructs, like sort of use a jaw brace kind of thing to just realign, then he can do it. And so he does that, but that's not what actually finished off. But Adam and Sinestro do put the moon back into place because Ultraman had moved it because he's depowered by sunlight. So throughout the entire story arc, the moon had been blocking the sun all the time. So them two fly up into space and move it back to its original alignment. Sort of fix things.
Everything to do with the moon.
Yep. And basically the 3 surviving Crime Syndicate members at the end of and by the way, the Superwoman was pregnant throughout this entire storyline, and the whole question was it Ultraman's baby or Owlman's baby? Because she had told both of them that it was their baby respectively. So she was lying to it, but it turns out that it was actually Alex Luthor's baby. So neither of them are the father, and he was the father.
That Anti-Monitor's jailed.
And, well, we'll get to him later, but so 3 surviving members of the Crime Syndicate: Superwoman, Ultraman, and Owlman. Superwoman gets locked up in a super security prison, as does Ultraman. Ultraman also gets depowered to the point where he's like, "Please kill me," because he's literally just like almost a rotting corpse. He's so weak and frail. Because Lex does something to him. I can't remember what he does, but he depowers him a lot and leaves him as a frail mess, and he's also locked up. Owlman, on the other hand, escapes the entire thing unapprehended. So he's on the loose right now.
Was Owlman like Batman?
Yeah, he was evil Batman. So he's not got caught or anything. He's on the loose. And he's also very obsessed with Nightwing.
Because Batman hacks. Yep.
So our man gets off scot-free. He's the only Crime Syndicate member to not receive any punishment.
Yeah.
He's gone, he's out.
So, have you enjoyed the story arc overall?
I've not finished yet.
Okay.
Ooh, huffing and puffing. So everything's resolved. Lex Luthor is crowned champion of the Earth, pretty much. Everyone loves him now. Superman, being Superman, is super skeptic.
Of course,
and is
who wouldn't be?
moaning about it, saying, "Oh, this is just he'll change eventually." And then like they're talking about like Wonder Woman goes to Superwoman asking her about the who's the being that destroyed their Earth and is coming for Earth Prime or Prime Earth.
Mm.
And she's like, "Oh, the baby kicked." So she's just interested in one thing, and that's giving birth to the almighty, super powerful baby that's probably going to be super overpowered for having two overpowered parents.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman pretty much theorizes that we know there's only one person in this universe capable of destroying the world. It's obviously Darkseid. And so you cut to the final panel, and it's like you hear someone talking to their master, and then it's like, oh, it's the Anti-Monitor, not Darkseid at all.
There we go.
And the Anti-Monitor wants to kill Darkseid for some reason. He says once he's powered up enough, he's coming for Darkseid.
Just stick a flight of stairs in front of him. And
Yeah, I know. The Anti-Monitor just made a world full of stairs. Darkseid like
Darkseid would not be able
have
to
a heart attack, and hemorrhage heart attack. Just run him over with Orion's flying scooter. Hit and run has never been so good.
Can I ask now? Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Good. Do you want to rate it, or do you don't want to?
Have I ever given ratings before?
No, I think so, but you can always start.
I give it 7.5 batarangs out of 10.
Okay.
It was nice to get a focus on the villains.
Yeah. I always find storylines like that are quite interesting.
It's a shame Black Adam had to be jobbing it up to Ultraman at one point.
Yeah.
He never really got another moment to shine. I wanted him to be the one to kill Ultraman. It would have only made sense. So, yeah.
Oh, well.
Telling you, DC, stop abusing your best character. Give him his own solo series where he just mops the floor with everyone. If I was in charge, this is what would happen.
I'm sure it would.
Black Adam versus the DC universe would be a thing.
What we've got to look forward to in the near future.
Well, mate, cutting me off, kicking me ahead of time. Haven't even finished talking about present stuff yet.
Just trying to move stuff along, but all right then.
Well, ignore stuff.
Just trying to keep it interested.
You sound guilty. Why don't you want to talk about who shot the Watcher? Could it be because you shot him?
It's
obviously what it is. Original Sin, which is the new Marvel crossover event for the summer. Basically last year's Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
Except that was later on in the year, not the summer. But in any case, that's moving at a good pace because that's like one issue every 2 weeks. So it's bi-weekly, which is good. It means we don't get a 2-month wait for the last issue. Hopefully. Who knows? So someone shot the Watcher on the moon because reasons. They raided all his collections as well. Took some important, very dangerous artifacts from his museum on the moon.
I didn't know he had one.
He does. He even had the ultimate nullifier up there.
There you go.
Not a good idea. So yeah, and now we've got a murder mystery on our hands with giant-headed dead man on the moon. And I thought they was joking when they said who shot the Watcher, but no, someone shot him. You expected him to be like, I don't know, energy blasted or something, or maybe the moon gets blown up, but no, someone actually put a bullet in his head.
Maybe it was a collector. Who knows?
I'm sure it wasn't, but interesting reveal so far. It's only, as of this recording, there's only 2 issues out, so we're just getting started. The ball is rolling slowly. But certainly some interesting reveals, such as the orb. Do you remember the orb?
No.
Dude with an eyeball for a head.
I certainly do not.
Well, that's a shame, because he's in it, and he is not the one that shot the Watcher, but he had one of the Watcher's eyes for some reason.
Okay.
And that was, for some reason, a big reveal is when he unmasked himself, and he was like, "Oh, it was me, the orb," and you're like, "What?"
Okay.
The orb.
Well, isn't the Watcher made of, like, energy? Anyway.
I don't know, do I? I mean, he still got shot with a kryptonite bullet, apparently, so he's actually
Well,
Kryptonian. Thought.
it's weird because, I mean, like, I know because, like, they powered up their race so much that they could, like, just turn into energy and travel through the universe. And then they had their policy of non-interference, but I don't think they reversed that transformation. They kept themselves as energy beings, so it's pretty hard to shoot somebody. It's like shooting Galactus.
Well, that's probably to come, I'm sure. Summer 2015, who shot Galactus with a slingshot?
Yeah.
Make it happen, Maham. It was probably Quicksilver, because he's to blame for everything. Woof. Anyway, yeah, not much done there. Still early doors yet. And you've got your Avengers and New Avengers and Uncanny Avengers going on. Those are pretty much the three series that I'm most interested in. Oh, I guess Thunderbolts too, because...
Who are the Thunderbolts now?
Lineups only change with Flash Thompson leaving and Ghost Rider coming in to replace it.
Oh, yeah, Ghost Rider.
And the last issue made no sense.
So still got leader, Red Hulk.
Yep.
Who else?
Elektra, Punisher, Deadpool.
That was it.
What a great team. The heroes we deserve.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to shut my window.
Meanwhile, dogs. That's the future. And the
No, that's the present. Fool.
what's the future?
Well, there is one more issue I wanted to talk about. From present, they released a Thanos annual written by Jim Starlin, of all people, and also the art was the guy. Basically, it was the team that did Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And they released an annual for him, and it doesn't really take place in the present, of course, because it can't. Thanos is currently in his pain cube thing dealt by his son at the end of Infinity.
Pain.
The pain cube.
He turned to stone again.
So, yeah, he's got it rough. So this is sort of a flashback story of going all the way back to when he got his hands on the Cosmic Cube and fought the Avengers and lost it. And because Captain Marvel was all, good. And he goes to Mephisto in hell. He's like being super depressed, like how he's useless and can't do anything. And then when Mephisto's about to take his soul, guess who appears? None other than dun 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 Thanos, of course. Because who else to save Thanos but Thanos? And he's wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, and he traps Mephisto in a bubble. And he's all like, "Oh, I'm you from the future. One day you will acquire this awesome, magnificent power called the Infinity Gauntlet. But you will also end up losing it in the end." And Thanos is like, "Ooh." Super bummed out. He should just stick to helicopter rides.
Yeah.
And dropping cubes in New York, in Central Park and whatever. But one important thing that does happen is he shows him the end of the universe, as it were, and he shows him that at the end of the universe, before the White Flash happens, Thanos is standing atop everyone as the last person alive, and then the White Flash happens. So that's all like, so what's going to happen at the end of the universe? Why is Thanos atop a mountain of corpses and dead heroes and whatnot? Like, there's even people like Gladiator in there. So that was sort of the big takeaway from it, is like, okay, so is Thanos somehow going to be connected to what's going to happen with the incursions and why the reality is coming to an end or something like. I thought he was out of commission for now because, of course, he's in his pain cube.
Yeah.
TM.
I'm sure I'll get out of it, but
yeah, you can't keep a good villain down. Which reminds me, well, he's not a villain, but in an original Sin tie-in with Guardians of the Galaxy, they're going to fight. I think it's in August. they're going to finally explain what happened to Richard Rider, because I've been wanting to know why did Star-Lord and Thanos come back at the end of Thanos' Imperative completely unharmed when they were meant to die in the Cancerverse, but Richard Rider's nowhere to be found.
He's still there.
He's becoming the babysitter of a new universe.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that because I want to know if he's going to come back, or he's going to come back with like a worm face, just spitting goo everywhere, carrying the plague. Schumann-Nova. Make it happen. So, yeah, and then New Avengers is incursions even. The Great Society, which is the Justice League ripoff, are eventually going to have to fight the 616 Illuminati. That should be an interesting battle. Because it's like, will they destroy the Earth? Who knows? Who cares? I care. These characters matter to me now. I need to know if Namor is truly immoral or not. He probably is.
Namor's not immoral.
He is. He's totally immoral.
Oh, really?
He'd be the first one of them to happily sacrifice another Earth to save his own face.
Well, well, to save his people, yeah. I mean,
he's the scummiest member of that group.
Who else is in there at the moment?
Black Panther, Reed, Rich. Why am I like? So I'm calling some of them by their super name and some of them by their real name.
You got Black Panther, Miss Fantastic. You got Tony Stark, or Iron Man.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Beast, Black Bolt.
Beast, Black Bolt, Namor.
Namor and Hulk. I believe that's the full line.
Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk's joined recently.
Because
that's such a
hello 8 members then. Okay.
Hello, men who shot me into space. How are you doing?
Well, you see, it's really interesting how each of those. Did you say Doctor Strange was in it still?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Each of the people has moral pluses and moral minuses. I would say, really, out of all of them, only Beast is the one person there who I consider to be just like, he's never really done anything super like negative. I mean, he's done some stupid stuff sometimes, but it's like, let's look. Yeah, Bruce Banner. He's done some pretty stupid things. Most of the time he's fine. Some of the time he can be really selfish, like absolutely self-absorbed. Doctor Strange went a bit mad with evil power for a while.
He's going to do it again. It's happening again. He sold his soul to some.
He thought the man learned, but there you go. Miss Fantastic and Tony, they went all Civil War and they just done goofed that terribly. So there you go.
T'Challa's not that bad, although he's still very much.
T'Challa isn't too bad. He's gone a bit weird after like. Oh no, because he wasn't the person who ordered the attack on Atlantis, was he? So no, he's not. He's actually pretty good.
He was his sister, Shuri.
Yeah, T'Challa's actually quite good. Who else is there? Namor and
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt doesn't speak, so it's like
has gone very strange.
Yeah, he's doing some stuff lately just to get
Kerrigan bomb and make everyone blah blah blah, which is weird. It carries along his path, and that's what he's kind of, I guess, destined to do. But and then you get like Namor. Namor has pluses and minuses. His like pluses, he's really protective of his people. He cares for them. He still very much cares for his friends. He can be big-headed at times, which is his minus. He can be selfish at times, arrogant, blah blah blah. They've all got redeeming qualities, but like all apart from two of them are not. They're not like the perfect people in the world, which is kind of an interesting thing about the Illuminati. They're supposed to be like the world's greatest, but they're not at all. Especially like over the past year or even 2 years or even year, right? Even their moral choices have come into question. Let's just say, building bombs to destroy another Earth, blah blah blah.
Yep,
it's deep stuff. So yeah,
that's got to come to a head at some point.
Yeah, well.
Can't wait though. I've enjoyed probably my favourite Marvel Now relaunch, even though it wasn't a retcon. Though honestly, it's a little worrying that this might be where this is actually heading.
See Captain America beat up Iron Man again.
Ooh, probably gonna happen again because he's not too happy at old Tony at the moment because he found out that Illuminati mind wiped him and kicked out the group just because he wasn't willing to, give up his moral code in the face of complete and utter destruction.
Was Beast a part of that or not?
No, Beast was not yet a member.
Didn't think so.
And of course, Hulk wasn't there either.
Mm. I love I'm trying to think of Beast's real name.
Hank McCoy or Henry McCoy.
He's such a great character. Even like when he was part of the Avengers when the X-Men went like mad on Phoenix power, and they were all like, "Okay, we're playing a plan to like kidnap Rachel and like take them down if they need to." And Beast was like, "You know what? Actually, I'm not going to sit here and make plans to kill my own friends. I don't feel okay about that." And he left, and I was like, I respect that a lot. He wasn't like, I feel like super morally wrong. He's just like, I don't want to do this to my friends. I don't feel okay about this. You're all kind of going a bit weird now. I'm gonna leave. Bye. He's just such a nice guy. So's Cap. But Cap's like obvious Stars and Stripes hero, etc.
Cap will never compromise.
No,
he is Rorschach in a way. Never compromise.
So is these the looking forward to?
Indeed. I mean, got to find out who killed the Watcher, and then maybe wrap up this whole incursion business if it even comes to it. Also, why is the Living Tribunal dead on the moon? No one's. In fact, yep. Wait. That's a problem. Okay, they go and find the Watcher's body on the moon, but they didn't notice maybe that the Living Tribunal's body could still be
about him. I thought the Watcher was the one that you were like thinking, why aren't they doing anything about? Yeah, I completely forgot about Living Tribunal. That is something that needs to be sorted out. Maybe somebody shot both of them. Maybe they had like a Western standoff.
They did the whole 6 steps back and turn around and shot. And Living Tribunal missed his shot, but he made it so that it came back through space and time to kill the Watcher later.
The Watcher must have used the ultimate nullifier on it. There you go.
It was Doctor Doom all along.
This is our theory. It's set in stone. I predict that's what happened.
Maximus was the one to cause the end of the multiverse. Because he talked to a dog and the dog said yes, and he was like, "Okay, let's end the multiverse. Do it."
So that's what's on the horizon.
The horizon is looking fun, I guess. It's always looking. Future comics always intrigue me because everything about the future intrigues me because we don't know what's in the future.
Cool.
The end of the universe, apparently.
Some future stuff intrigues me, yeah. Also intrigues me is nostalgia, because it's fun and I know I like it. So we kind of went the wrong route with this. We went past, well, we went present, future, then past. I suppose it all goes full circle anyway. But...
Circle of life.
Yeah. So I guess I'm supposed to. I have stuff to recommend anyway, but welcome to the corner of somebody who probably should get around to reading new stuff but doesn't ever.
Nope,
because he just keeps forgetting and it's kind of, but let me tell you, I can talk about stuff I have read and I can recommend at least 2 things. I talked to you earlier in the week about Old Man Logan, which is look up what actual date it came out. I don't think it was so long ago. It was kind of maybe 2007, maybe 2008. Kind of what if storyline, where basically villains of the world, or at least America, rise up, and in like almost a single day, completely wipe out all the heroes. And they divide America into different parts. Each like major villain gets a part, like the Abomination, Magneto, Doctor Doom, the Red Skull. They each get slices of the country. Some of them are later taken over by other people, but most of the heroes die. and the story starts like you got like old Wolverine who, after doing something he regrets, has decided to never pop his claws again. He lives in the Hulk's territory, previously belonged to the Abomination, but it's now belonging to old Bruce Banner, who either raped or had sex with She-Hulk, and
That's incest for the
yeah, it
uneducated.
is, and he has loads of incestuous grandchildren, who like go around getting tax and blackmailing people for money, etc.
Just being approached by a bloody. Tell me they're like green abominations, right?
They're green.
Yeah, good. Okay, that makes the image much better for me.
They're really weird. Some of them have mustaches. Some of them have like, yeah, they're strange. That's for sure. So it's quite a while in the future. Logan's got really long, well, not long. He's got really white hair. Hawkeye's in it. Hawkeye's now blind.
Ironic.
And is like he ferries stuff, sometimes drugs across the country. He's still a pretty good shot, but he's blind. It's really a story I really don't want to spoil a whole lot because everybody like there's always the stories that are like, oh, what if blah blah. Some of them are really good, some of them aren't so good, and there's always. I personally really like Wolverine as a character. I always think he's really interesting. Some of the stories are a bit kind of they lay it on too heavy of the whole fan base or the like preconceived notion that everybody loves Wolverine. Not everybody does. Some people get really sick of that and they're like, it's just another Wolverine thing. I mean, blah blah blah. It's not that hot. Old Man Logan was one of the storylines that I feel at least was just. It's not like super dark, but it's pretty dystopian-ish. It's got a feeling and grit to it. It's kind of like one man gets pushed too far and goes back to kill everyone. They've done that a few times with him becoming a pacifist, but this was one of the ones they did pretty well, I think. And the whole, like, I mentioned to you as well, because there's a spot him and Hawkeye visit. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like centered around a massive crater that's got Thor's hammer in it, which is obviously where Thor was killed. And that's like a site of pilgrimage for all of the, not all, but quite a lot of the remaining population in one of the divided up places to like come and pray for the heroes to return, which of course they're not because they're dead. There's no resurrection in this, you don't get.
Excuse me.
This isn't like, I mean, as much as I think there's the whole kind of, he's not actually dead, blah, 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 is nice sometimes. This is like one of the future story arcs where it ain't gonna happen. So yeah.
Heroes Return was a thing. I just wondering, when they're out there, the irony.
I would definitely recommend reading Old Man Logan. Just anybody, even if you don't particularly like Wolverine, it's a good story.
Hint, me.
Yeah, I would definitely. I recommend it to you like last week. I'll recommend it again. It's very good. I was looking up some X-Men stuff earlier. Some of the storylines there. I used to have loads and loads of comics a couple of years back. I was reading like X-Men, Avengers, a couple of Mighty One and Marvel as well, and some of the what they call House Defenders had a few issues in that as well. But I was thinking like I looked up Rogue on Comic Vine and was looking at different versions of her and other people, and they had like along the lines as a team like the Extreme X-Men, which is led by I think Bishop had a lead in it, possibly Storm as well. And they had loads of, not like loads, but they had quite a few really good storylines that they were good in length. They had really good plots, like either alien invasions, a guy who was really good at killing mutants. He wasn't a mutant himself. He was like a holy purifier guy who kept reciting things to do with like Book of the Future and Destiny. I think that's her name. The really weird lady who has like a golden mask for a face. I would definitely recommend reading some Extreme X-Men plot lines. if anything, just because the art's quite nice as well. It's got a good lineup. Beast is in it. Yeah, do you know who Sage is?
No.
She's fallen off the radar. I don't know where she went, but Sage was good. She was kind of like telepath. She could also like boost people's powers, kind of awaken them to a better potential. So like Rogue, it's risky, very risky, especially at a short notice. But for a short while, she was able to fully control her powers and call upon stuff from the past, just with the click of her finger. And she used that to fight a guy. I'm not going to say who, but because she needed to fight him anyway.
Spoiler alert, it was Old Man Logan.
Bishop was in there, yeah. Beast. Psylocke was in there, Betsy Braddock.
What about Cable?
That was a really good storyline. Cable, I don't think was in it.
Well, they're not interested.
Cable was in quite a few good storylines. There was the Legacy Virus arc, I think was before that. That was a very good arc. That had Cable in it.
When are they gonna get a buddy cop movie with Bishop and Cable?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Buddy X-Men cop.
The Legacy Virus was actually in Colossus died. They took a long time resurrecting Colossus. A couple of years at least.
That's not as bad as Barry Allen.
Sorry?
It's not as bad as Barry Allen.
I didn't think they were ever going to bring him back, but I didn't particularly enjoy the storyline they brought him back.
Barry Allen stayed dead for 23 years.
That is a long time. You know, Colossus didn't stay dead for that long. I think he's either the Juggernaut now, or he gave up the Juggernaut power and is wishing he had more power. He's gone completely off the rails. He's not so much of a good hero anymore. And Kitty's like, don't want you to be my boyfriend anymore, son. And then he moved on, I guess. I don't think they're ever going to resurrect Nightcrawler. I was super sad when that happened. Kurt was one of my favourite characters. And he died, sadly. So did Banshee. Banshee's dead as well.
Banshee is staying dead, methinks.
Sorry?
Banshee is staying dead.
Yeah. Sad. Sad Tims.
Along with Dakin. No one cares
Good.
about Dakin.
Not sad about that. Didn't much care for Dakin. It was touching in a way, but I was like, eh.
I'm gonna drown my own son, excuse me. Also, while Sabretooth secretly films it and gives it to Red Skull. Oh boy. So Wolverine is technically to blame for every problem ever made, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, technically he's the one that went back. It was his decision to go back in time in Age of Ultron and screw the timeline up.
Which is terrible. That's such a stupid thing to do.
Him and Quicksilver carry the idiot ball around and just share it with each other.
Really?
And tossing it to each other like a pigskin.
I wonder if it runs in the. I was going to say run in the family, but they're not family, are they? Plot twist.
Maybe if you've been a member of the X-Men and the Avengers, you automatically become an idiot. Because apparently every member of both teams excels at stupid decisions, Scarlet Witch included. It's a curse. And since Havoc and Sunfire are now sort of Avengers and X-Men, they're going to get hit with it now. And Rogue. Wow, can't wait for it. The idiot ball is coming to you. Beware the idiot ball.
Oh boy. Look it up online. Yeah, the Extreme X-Men had like the first run through 2001, 2004. Which was a long time ago now. It also included another guy who I can't remember who it was. Was it Thunderbird?
Doom 2099.
I think it was Thunderbird. Something like that. And then eventually, like Lifeguard joined, Slipstream joined. And
bunch of C-listers, if you ask me.
Although people who transformed or like gained their mutant powers during the storylines. Yeah. It was a good storyline though. It's just one of the ones that I was like, it doesn't have anything as much. Yeah, I've said it before. I like space plot, but sometimes space plot can get a bit.
Sometimes space plot will remain the best plot.
No,
No, I don't care what you say. I'm
look,
right.
whatever, man. Sometimes you get too much space plot, and I just get diluted with it.
Okay, listen here then. Okay, comparison time, right? 2006, Annihilation versus Civil War. What's better? Annihilation by a country mile. Annihilation is way better than Civil War. 2010, Thanos Imperative, and then I don't know if there was a crossover event that year, but Fear itself was pretty close. Fear itself wasn't very good. Thanos Imperative is amazing. Up there with Annihilation. Cosmic Marvel or Space Marvel beats Earth Marvel any day of the week. Take
I
that.
can challenge you a bit on that to do with things like the X-Men. There is no point at all to having loads of space X-Men.
There is
The only point
X-Men in
it
space.
works is with things like the Starjammers, things like the early Shi'ar things like Dark Phoenix and all that. Vulcan Saga, terrible. Hate Vulcan, hate anything to do with Vulcan. It's literally a pile of poo.
Wasn't that bad. War of the Kings was
Everything
fine.
apart from Vulcan was all right. I love Ronan. I love the Inhumans. Vulcan is such a whiny bum. The whole point of the X-Men is to like overcome this whole prejudice thing. This is not like a super space adventure. This is something really down to earth and like it's to do with the society as a whole. Prejudices, looking at people who are different to you, and things like that. This one didn't. It had a really good line to do with that, but it also had a line where sure aliens invaded, but they kept it down to earth and they kept it just like. I like cosmic plot when it doesn't get too ridiculous, when it's not like every single issue is like, oh no, the fate of everything depends on this, because they do that all the time now, and I'm sick of it. It's like if you do it every single issue, it loses the thing. First few times I was like, this is really cool. The fate of everything, stake on one thing, awesome. And when they just keep buffing it out again, I'm like, we've had this before. They always win, which is interesting to see if they're like they don't win. That's awesome because I know like DC, you can start again, rewrite stuff, whatever. It gets to a point where I'm just like, we've had this before. This is a variation on something that has come prior to it. I don't care
But
how many
then they're
years.
gonna win in the Earth stuff as well.
Well, yeah, but
It's about the
people
journey, not the
die in the Earth
destination.
stuff. When people are
Richard
out in
Rider
space and
has
there's
been dead for
celestials and everything like that,
4 years
it
now.
becomes inconsequential. And the things that it's like, oh, there's a small, like, there's like the group of Earth people, they're trying to focus on saving a higher power. And I'm like, I don't care about the high power. I care about the team. I care about the people. I thought, like, the Kree Skrull War was really awesome. I loved how they did that. They had, like, unlike when Ronan tried to infect the Earth with ego, like the entire population of Earth heroes got together and stopped it. And
Ego.
the only reason I really like that stuff like that is because they all pulled together. It was really character based. They on like a group by group basis. They showed the missions they went on. They showed what they did. They showed how it went. They showed like Thor and like the space group of the Avengers being attacked and like overcome because the supreme intelligence is based. Was back then anyway. Ronan gets scrubbed up on Earth and it ends up with a US agent punching him in the face. It was
Hacks.
it was good. I don't get me wrong. I do really do love cosmic plot. I just lose interest when it becomes like anti-monitor stuff all the time. Or rather, when it becomes monitor stuff all the time with space vampires. When
Hey
it gets
man,
to
don't
that
you hate
level,
on space vampires? That was not a cool idea, but there
when
was
it gets to that level, when it gets to Space Armor Superman level every issue, I'm like, I'm out. This is just too much.
one
I'm
issue.
out.
It was one issue, okay?
I know, but it's like the idea of that. I just when it gets too big and they keep doing it.
Well, that's what they're forced to do that because they got to hype up the next big threat. Otherwise, you're going to be like, "Who's this clown?"
Well, that's the thing. And I'm like, why did they even do that in the beginning if they kept having to hype it up because it just gets even more hype and even more hype, and the down to earth things just get irrelevant, which shouldn't happen because I always find those the most interesting. But there we go. But when you lose interest with Earth heroes, Earth villains can come along and fill a slot. There've been a lot of really good Earth-based villain stuff. Like when the heroes are away fighting in space, the villains often get up to a lot of really cool stuff. I can't remember whether it was one of the most recent ones. They had like a group of villains. I think you gave it to me to read. It might have been to do with the Thunderbolts. But some people tried to break into the Avengers Mansion, steal stuff. I don't know. It was only like one issue, but I love that. That was so much fun because it was just like day-to-day villains trying to actually do something to boost their career. They were nothings, but you know, it's interesting story. I'm a fan of the smaller stuff.
Moral of the story is don't listen to Jack for any advice.
I'm a simple man. I can enjoy the simpler things in life. It doesn't have to be a
Even when they're Civil War, even when they're Avengers versus X-Men, such great Earth-based storyline. Age of Ultron also referencing.
I can enjoy Hydro Man getting depressed and trying to rob a bank, and a whole arc about how he feels depressed. I can enjoy that. There hasn't been one of that. I don't particularly like Hydro Man, but you know, you get my point.
Just saying.
So yeah,
the track record for Earth-based major crossover events has not been great as of late. Past decade even.
Oh dear. The ones I remember are really good. I suppose that's I stopped reading comics a while ago because I just didn't like the direction they were going with it.
Haven't changed, unless they're DC, in which case they've changed.
It hasn't changed, which is why I don't read them anymore, but I still live in hope that stuff will happen that I like. And like every now and then I go
Still
back.
the hope that Wally West will come back and he'll be black instead of white, because why not? That happened. That's not a joke. That is what's happening right now. I'm not joking. This is dead serious business right
now. I wondered why in one of the 616 things Nick Fury was suddenly black. I was like,
that's his son. Don't ask me why. That's his son.
I don't know. I've never heard anything about a son of Nick Fury.
That's Nick Fury Jr.
And I really don't.
And they even make a point about it of like, is it senior or junior? Like, yeah.
Totes are not a reference to Samuel Jackson and how that's becoming really popular now.
Well, yeah, the bloody movie stuff shapes the comic book plot more likely than you'd think. Like now, Star-Lord is going around dressed up like he's going to be in the movie in the comics, which I don't agree with because
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of. I feel like a kind of an old fart, being like, it shouldn't have anything to do with blah 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 blah. But I'm like, excuse my phone going off. Yeah. Movies, do whatever if you don't want to do continuity in them, fine. Do what you want with them. Just leave my Nick Fury alone. Okay.
Leave my Wally. Actually, no.
Leave my Nick Fury to be Nick Fury. He's one and only Nick Fury. Samuel Jackson's awesome. Whatever. Comic book Nick Fury. There's only one. Ultimate Nick Fury's all right. He got his arm ripped off. What a scrub.
Yeah. And not as though Nick Fury lost an eye or anything.
Yeah, they both lost.
I guess.
Oh dear.
So look forward to Ultron being a new big thing in a couple of years' time. Can't wait.
Ultron again. Woo.
Give me bloody Dormammu. He has been gone for such a long time, I feel like.
Give me Kang. I haven't seen anything to do with Kang in a while.
Guess what? You should probably read Uncanny Avengers. Got plenty of Kang in that.
Yeah, I saw a couple of things like Immortus and that, but
Kang is king. And might as well call it Kang's Avengers. Especially at this point.
I don't really know anything.
Anyway, it's completely irrelevant because Marvel Universe: The End is the greatest comic book ever made. So there you go.
I don't know. I don't think I've read it.
It's the dumbest comic book ever made. It's the greatest comic book ever made. Between that and Final Crisis, Superman Beyond, if you read them back to back, you'd probably never want to read a comic book again. You'd be like having an existential crisis after you've read it. You'd be like, what is going on? So maybe don't read them. No, maybe when you're on your deathbed, you're like, son, pass me the Superman Beyond comic. I need to know what went on. And then you just flatline as soon as you open the first page. Because the 3D of... Oh man, that comic book was in 3D as well.
Wow, that is funky.
Never forget. Ultraman, Superman clash to become giant robot Superman. Never forget. Never forget.
Oh boy.
I sure won't.
Nope.
Comic books done.
Have you watched any new anime series?
Ooh, I have. Why don't you go first? Because I know you've been.
I've been revisiting a long, long time ago a show that I never really watched as a child because it was before my time, and I didn't have a TV for a long time as a child, so I'm getting around like 20 years late to watch Dragon Ball.
Avenge poverty.
Not DBZ, the first one. It's about on 28 episodes, 27 episodes in now. Martial arts tournament. Good old Master Roshi beat Goku. He entered under the totally subtle name of Jackie Chun. And then Yamcha obviously figured him out, and then he got one of the other contestants in the tournament. He helped him out, and he got him to pose as Master Roshi in the audience. So Yamcha was like, "Oh, I guess it can't be Master Roshi." The whole reason he entered was to stop Goku or Krillin like becoming too big-headed, because he was like, they're already the best in the world, but he didn't want them to think they were that, because then they just give up. They wouldn't bother anymore. So he was like, I want them to just keep training and like actually have fun. What a nice guy.
What a top bloke. So how does he make that happen? Does he destroy the moon, perhaps?
Then he can make him out of the moon. Everyone was like, no, why did you do that to Goku? Because Goku went ape. Literally.
Yep. Nailed it.
And they were like, "Oh no, you've killed him." Master Roshi was like, "No, he's alive." And Goku got out of the rubble, of like a ball or whatever. And then he was like, "Nah, look in the sky." The guy's like, "What happened to the moon?" And then he's like, "What have you done? Now we can no longer take moonlight strolls." Whatever. Master Roshi's like, "I just saved you from a giant ape. Shut up."
I'm not sure that was worth destroying the moon. Couldn't you just have Kamehameha Goku
best
in the
part
face?
Is Master Roshi's like, everything will be fine now. I'm like, no, it won't. The moon is like, the tides depend on the moon. The entire world is just dead if there's no moon. Life depends on it. But it's Dragon Ball. I'm sure it'll be fine. Vegeta brings it back. It's fine.
That's true. Also, Piccolo may or may not destroy it again as well.
There we go.
Damn it! What you guys got against the moon? You shot the Watcher on the moon. You blew the moon up. Moon. High tides.
Yeah, I'm watching Dragon Ball. I haven't really got anything else planned, I don't think.
Is it Dragon Ball forever now?
Stuff I can recommend, but yeah, nothing else in the pipeline for the moment.
Today GT, tomorrow the world.
Nope. Mustache Vegeta too strong. So yeah, what are you watching?
Is that it? You're not even going to go on and ramble about Dragon Ball, and it's...
Really?
You were saying that all it's perverted.
I'm 27 of 150 episodes.
Oh, I guess.
I've got a long way to go, and I could talk about it a lot, but I mean, honestly, not a lot's happened. It's not very complicated.
Breasts were touched. Moons were blown up.
Yep. Panties were put on heads. This is not a show for children, at least the uncensored version. That's for sure. Yep, I'm done.
With life. So, Me.
It's all about you.
Pretty much. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders, which rolls right off the tongue. In fact, my tongue just fell out. Let me... There we go. Back in now. Where to begin? Bizarre is not the word for it. Well, I guess it is. So the interesting thing about this is based on a manga that's been going since 1987. And this is not the first anime adaptation. There was an OVA adaptation of this exact same series. The deal with this is Stardust Crusaders. That's its subtitle, and it's basically the third part. There are 8 parts so far, and I think Jojo's Bizarre Adventure is still ongoing, and each part has a different setting, a different main character, a different villain, and all that stuff. But parts 1 to 3, at least, are all interconnected in some way, so I guess I should go over the backstory of parts 1 and 2 in a little detail, just to catch us up to speed. Okay, so it's like 1800 century, late 1800th century England, right?
Yeah.
Got this guy called Jonathan Joestar. He's got a father called George Joestar. He's a rich boy, lives in a mansion. They adopt another kid called Dio Brando, greatest name ever. And he becomes brothers with him, and he basically, Dio Brando, just wants to. I'm just gonna call him Dio. That's basically his name, Dio. Yep, this is gonna get. Ride the tiger.
Yeah.
And he wants to steal. He wants to inherit the fortunes of the Joestar family all to himself, rather than Jonathan become the next heir.
Oh no.
And so he tries to ruin his life. Lots of things happen. I think he burns his dog or something, kicks it as well.
That's harsh.
Dio's not a very good man. Steals his first kiss. Yep. And at the height of it all, he finds a stone Aztec mask that turns him into a vampire. An immortal vampire. And so they fight, something happens out at sea, both of them go down to the very bottom of the ocean and are presumed dead. Okay, now part 2. New protagonist is the grandson of Jonathan Joestar, he's Joseph Joestar. And then there's these group of villains called the Pillar Men, of which their leader, who's called, wait for it, Cars. Let us sink that in for a second. It's spelled with a K. But he's still called Cars. Never gonna get over that. He was the one responsible for that stone Aztec mask that made Dio a vampire. And stuff happens, yada yada yada. They fight in a volcano. Joseph loses an arm or a hand during the fight, and eventually sends, because he knows that he can't kill Cars because he's immortal. He even went into the lava and came out unscathed. He sends him into space. He fist energy punches him or something into space. And eventually Cars freezes up and goes mad from isolation in space, to the point where he even says he stops thinking because he's been adrift in space. So that's that all done. Right, we're on part 3 now, which is Stardust Crusaders, and we're up to the point where this is where the anime starts. We have the grandson of Joseph Joestar. Is this getting confusing yet?
Yes.
Jotaro Kujo. So there, we're done with Joestar last names now. And have you seen the plot, the little thing here? The fact that they've all got Jojo in their name, and that's why each protagonist is called Jojo. Jonathan Joestar, Joseph Joestar, and Jotaro Kujo. They're all called Jojo. So he's in a prison cell, his mum comes to get him, and he claims that he's been possessed by a demon, and even demonstrates it to police by he shoots a gun and at his own head, and then some spirit ghost thing behind him catches it and stops it from killing him. And so they get Joseph Joestar, who is now an old man, of course, because some time has passed. This is now set in 1980s, and part 2 was set before World War One, or should I say before World War Two? One of the two is set before one of the World Wars. So he was a old teenager in that when he fought Cars and sent him off to space, and now he's an old man. He's got a mechanical hand and everything because obviously he lost it in the fight. And so he comes to see his grandson in the prison, and then he's also accompanied by a man called Mohammed Abdul, who's an Egyptian man, and his partner of sorts. And he reveals that it's not a ghostly apparition or a demon or all. It's called a stand, and what it is it's a type of, it's essentially your spirit power made manifest. And the reason it's called a stand is because it stands beside you. So, and they demonstrate this by he asks Abdul to he asks him to get Jojo out of his cell, and to do that, Abdul starts a fight and brings out his stand, which is some It's called Magician's Red, and it's basically a phoenix-type birdman who has control over fire.
Well.
And then Jojo's stand is called Star Platinum, and it's incredibly accurate and pinpoint with reflexes, and can also do lots of fast punches. It's basically kind of like having Kenshiro as a ghost on your back, in a way. Which is, I imagine some inspiration was taken from Fists of the North Star. So, he eventually gets him out the cell by forcing him to come out, and then stops fighting and basically says that, yeah, my objective was to get you out of the cell, not to fight or kill you, or lose to you. So he stops fighting him, and then after that they all go get a cup of tea or whatnot, I can't remember. They go talk about things. Or is that the third episode? I forget. Either way, the stand stuff is explained, and then Jojo is in school, and all the girls are fawning over him. Then there's this other student who starts attacking him. And they have a fight in sort of the medical ward, because beforehand this new student was like painting and did a stroke on the brush, and suddenly Jojo's leg got cut and he fell down some stairs. So I don't know, it's never explained again why he has magical painting powers, but because that's not even his stand is called Hierophant Green.
They all have colours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, well, I do know some of them don't have colours, but most of them do, yeah. So the main cast generally have them, because Joseph Joestar's stand is called Hermit Purple. And so yeah, this guy fights him, and then Jojo eventually beats him and puts him in a pretty bad condition. But he takes him back to their estate, their home estate.
Phone.
Phone.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, my father keeps calling me.
Podcast.
Keep going.
Keep going. I've lost my train of thought now. Brings him back to the estate. And they find out that he's got some sort of brain parasite. And that it means that he's subservient to Dio. And so there's this really nasty scene where Jojo uses Star Platinum to extract it from his brain, and it crawls up Jojo's arm, and it's like going up his body and heads towards his head. It's like, ooh, you got a nasty tentacle thing to just pierce through your skin. But eventually he rips it out and kills it. And then this new guy, the new student guy, Kakuyuina, I think his name, eventually decides to join them. Because he wasn't a bad guy, he was just under mind control, right? So yeah. And eventually Holly, which is Jojo's mum, eventually starts to get a stand of her own, because they're all connected to Dio. Because I neglected to mention that, yes, Dio's back from the dead, and how he did that is because he sewed his head to Jonathan Joestar's body. So he is now just a head, but he's on his former rival's body. So that's all fun and great, and also he's back. And so this is causing all the Joestar members and Bloodline to start manifesting their powers, and Holly gets hers, but because she's not a fighter or whatever, it's starting to kill her. So they agree that they need to go to Egypt, which is where they think Dio currently is. They need to go to Cairo and kill him in order to save his mum, and Joseph saves his daughter, because that's his daughter. And so yeah, they head to Egypt. Kakuyuin joins them, so does Abdul. And then along the way, they fight a guy called so hard to pronounce these names. Polnareff, that's it. Who may or may not be who may also not be named after a songwriter as well, just like Dio. And he fights them. His stand is called Silver Chariot, so once again, colours coming into play there. He's sort of like a fencer type guy wearing armour. But Abdul fights him and ends up beating him, and then, surprise, surprise, they find out that he's got the brain parasite as well, so...
Oh no!
They get that out, Jojo does his thing, gets it out, and then he agrees to join them on the quest because he's looking for the person that killed his sister, who was apparently a man with two left hands. Is the man who killed his sister. So off they go on another wonderful adventure. They board a plane, and then it turns out there's an old man on the plane who has a stand called the Emperor. Wait, no, is the guy called the Emperor? I'm an idiot, aren't I? I'm trying to explain this, and I'm like...
This is a complicated plot, it's okay.
Getting everything mixed up. So yeah, evil man on the plane likes to rip people's tongues out, happens to some of the passengers on the plane. Also, for some reason, this anime has a habit of, despite being violent, it likes to black gory things out. In fact, it even blacks out when Jojo starts smoking. Like, it'll show him lighting the cigarette, but as soon as he puts it in his mouth, there's like a black spot over his mouth area to show that we can't show that, that's bad.
Oh no.
We also can't show this man's tongue hanging out of his face because he got it ripped out. Anyway, the plane ends up crashing in the ocean. They manage to land it. Joseph takes control, and they defeat the evil old man with his weird bug stand thing. And oh, Tower of Grey, that was it. That was the name of the stand. Tower of Grey. So once again, colour. We're like, what, 6 for 6 by now? 7 for 7? It's the next episode where things get really, really weird. They find a boat. Actually, no, beforehand they're on a boat, and the captain of the boat turns out to have killed the other captain. It's just impersonating him, and he's also working with Dio. Yada yada yada. I can't remember what his stand is. He wasn't very good. He got pretty scrubbed up. It was something to do with the ocean. Probably blue something because it was ocean based.
Yeah.
Jojo kills him, or whatever, sends him to the bottom of the ocean. They move on, they get a lifeguard. They find this stowaway boy who turns out to actually be a girl. Yada yada, you move on, you find that they get rescued on their dinghy by this giant ship that appears out of nowhere. Turns out there's no one on board except this monkey in a cage. That's locked in a cage. And the big plot twist is it turns out that the monkey in the cage is the stand user that's come to kill them. And this monkey, at one point, is reading a Playboy magazine while smoking in his cage. And
how far are we away from finishing? This is
close.
So bad.
Close. I've pretty much just gone over every episode I've watched so far, and this is episode 7 of the 8 I've seen so far, so I've got one more episode to speak about after this. So yeah, we've got a Playboy reading, smoking monkey and his stand, get this, his stand is the entire ship. It is under his control. He controls the ship.
Well.
And he traps everyone else but Jojo into the ship. And yeah, Jojo ends up beating him as he's known to do. So monkey gets beaten. Still great that a monkey. And he also, the girl's taking a shower at one point, and he comes in to perv on her. He's also wearing a captain's uniform as well at that point. It's great. That monkey's the best character so far. After that adventure, they end up in Singapore. They make port there. They stay at a hotel. Then Polnareff gets attacked in his hotel room by another stand user, whose stand is called the Devil. He's a really creepy guy. Turns out that he's actually a doll, perhaps, maybe. Either I'm confused. I didn't really understand it. Either he's the doll or his stand is the doll.
What?
But in any case, it's really weird because you know how you think of epic fight scenes and epic locales. Like, what do you think about when you think about a fight scene? Volcano. We've had a volcano. We've had a ship. Think about other series you have, like giant battlegrounds and fields and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or a stadium or whatnot. This entire episode, this entire fight takes place in a single hotel room. So I was pretty impressed that they managed to pull that off.
Yeah.
Somehow make a fight in a hotel room exciting. But he traps Polnareff under the bed, and Eventually, Polnareff beats him by breaking the mirror and seeing where he is, because he's having a hard time seeing him, of course, because he's trapped under the bed. So he's having a standstill with Chariot just stab at thin air and trying to jab at the air, hoping to hit him, and eventually he gets him. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I don't know what make something of that. People, anyone who lives listening, make of it what you will. Would you recommend it?
I guess, if only for smoking monkeys reading Playboy magazine.
Okay.
With controls of Ghost Ship. I would have lost it, losing my mind at that point.
I think that's about everything we've got to talk about.
You want to end it on that note? On the note of me rambling about something?
Yeah.
No!
Why not?
You're meant to end it on one of your rants about something that's wrong with the world.
Why?
Because that's how we do.
Nope.
Yep.
I'm ending it on your rambling. Thank you very much for watching. Watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or don't. It's your choice.
Preferably maybe watch it from the start, the original series, and then go to Stardust Crusaders. I didn't, but I've heard that part 3 was the best part anyway. Plus...
Wasn't the old one, aren't they like old animation?
No.
Oh.
It's... Last year was like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure the anime, and this year is Stardust Crusaders.
Okay. Yeah, then watch it, I would suggest. I was just purely saying because it's difficult having something from like Fist of the North Star quality to
being moderately and well animated. Yeah.
Some people get really turned off by it, and I understand why completely.
Also, Walk Like an Egyptian is the credit song.
Okay.
It gets more and more bizarre. I'm just saying.
Thanks for listening.
Dead silence.
Goodbye.
How about no? How about we keep this going? No. Yep. So what have you been up to lately? So what have you been up to lately? So what have you been up to lately?
I'm not gonna answer you.
You just did. Right. I'm ending this here once and for all.
Finish the fight.
2015.
I guess 2014.
It's 2015 now.
Okay.
Batman does not eat nachos!